Top 10 ancient technologies that were way ahead of their time. What if ancient civilizations invented tech so advanced we'd call it science fiction today? These aren't myths or legends, they're real discoveries that challenge everything we thought we knew about history. From the mysterious Baghdad battery that may have produced electricity, to the Antikythera mechanism, often called the world's first computer, and even advanced surgical tools that rival some of today's instruments, the past is far stranger than we imagine. So stick around until the very end, because number 1 will leave you questioning whether our ancestors knew secrets that we've only just begun to rediscover. 10. The Baghdad battery. Did ancients harness electricity? Did ancient people really harness electricity 2,000 years ago? Discovered near Baghdad in the 1930s, this small clay jar may look ordinary at first glance, but it holds one of history's most puzzling secrets. Inside the jar, archaeologists found a copper cylinder and an iron rod, all sealed together with asphalt. To modernize, the design is strikingly similar to the components of a simple battery. When filled with an acidic liquid like vinegar or lemon juice, it could generate a small electric current. But here's the real mystery. This artifact is over 2,000 years old, dating back to the Parthian period. If it truly functioned as a battery, that would mean ancient civilizations may have harnessed electricity long before Benjamin Franklin or Edison. Some researchers suggest it was used for electroplating, covering objects with thin layers of precious metals. Others argue it might have had a more symbolic or ritual purpose, or perhaps it was an accidental design with no electrical function at all. The truth remains elusive. Was this jar proof of advanced scientific knowledge that history has forgotten? Or are we misinterpreting an everyday object through the lens of modern science? Either way, the Baghdad battery sparks more questions than answers. 9. Roman concrete, the self-healing secret formula. When you think of Roman achievements, grand structures like the Colosseum, aqueducts, and sprawling harbors come to mind. But what truly made these marvels possible wasn't just architecture, it was the material holding them together: Roman concrete. Known as opus caementicium, this ancient mixture has baffled scientists for decades because, unlike much of today's concrete, Roman concrete has actually grown stronger with time. Modern concrete often begins to crack and crumble within a few decades, but Roman harbors, bridges, and aqueducts have withstood nearly 2,000 years of weathering, earthquakes, and waves. The secret lies in its composition: volcanic ash, lime, and seawater. This unique mix allowed the concrete to develop rare, self-healing properties. When cracks formed and water seeped in, the lime reacted with minerals in the seawater, essentially patching the damage on its own. This is why Roman harbors, submerged for centuries, still stand strong today, while modern ports often require constant repairs. Scientists studying the recipe believe it could revolutionize modern construction, offering eco-friendly and longer-lasting alternatives. So was Roman concrete simply clever engineering, or did the ancients unlock a secret formula we've yet to fully rediscover? The evidence is literally written in stone. 8. The Antikythera mechanism, the world's first computer. In 1901, divers off the coast of the Greek island Antikythera pulled up a corroded lump of bronze from an ancient shipwreck. At first glance, it looked like nothing more than encrusted metal, but inside lay one of the most extraordinary discoveries in archaeology: the Antikythera mechanism, often called the world's first computer. Dating back to the 2nd century BCE, this device consisted of more than 30 precision gears crafted with a level of engineering so advanced it wouldn't be seen again until medieval clockmakers over 1,000 years later. When reconstructed, the mechanism revealed its astonishing purpose. It could predict solar and lunar eclipses, track the cycles of the moon, and even chart the movements of the known planets. Turning a crank set the gears in motion, showing ancient Greeks the cosmic dance of the heavens with remarkable accuracy. But how did people over 2,000 years ago achieve this level of precision engineering? Some believe it was the work of a forgotten genius, perhaps influenced by Archimedes. Others wonder how such knowledge could have been lost for centuries. The Antikythera mechanism isn't just an artifact. It's a reminder that ancient civilizations may have been far more technologically sophisticated than we ever imagined. Number 7. The Lycurgus cup, ancient nanotechnology in glass. At first glance, the Lycurgus cup looks like a beautiful Roman chalice, crafted around the 4th century CE. But shine light on it, and the impossible happens. In normal daylight, it glows a shimmering green, but when lit from behind, it transforms into a deep, glowing red. For centuries, no one could explain how ancient artisans achieved such a magical effect. Modern science finally uncovered the secret, and it's mind-blowing. The glass contains tiny particles of gold and silver, ground down to just a few nanometers wide. These nanoparticles scatter light in unique ways, creating the dramatic color shift. In other words, the Romans had accidentally, or perhaps intentionally, harnessed nanotechnology nearly 1,600 years before modern scientists even defined the word. But here's the real puzzle. How did ancient craftsmen manage to grind and mix metals so precisely at the nanoscale? Even with today's advanced tools, replicating the process isn't easy. Some researchers think the effect was a lucky accident. Others believe the artisans possessed secret knowledge of material science we've long forgotten. The Lycurgus cup is more than art. It's a scientific enigma, glowing proof that ancient civilizations may have known more about matter and light than we ever imagined. Number 6. Damascus steel, blades that could cut air. Few weapons in history inspire as much awe as the legendary swords forged from Damascus steel. Originating in the Middle East around the 3rd century CE, these blades became famous not just for their beauty, but for their unmatched performance in battle. Warriors swore these blades could cut through a rival's sword mid-battle, even cut a hair floating in the air. What made them extraordinary was their unique combination of toughness and flexibility. Unlike brittle metals that shatter under pressure, Damascus steel could bend without breaking, while still maintaining a razor-sharp edge. Adding to the mystique, the surface of each blade shimmered with intricate watered patterns, like flowing ripples frozen in steel. The secret lay in its production. Blacksmiths worked with a special type of steel known as woots, imported from India and Sri Lanka. Through a closely guarded process of heating, folding, and cooling, they created blades with microscopic structures that gave them strength and resilience. But by the 18th century, the recipe was lost. Today, modern metallurgy has come close to replicating it, yet the exact method and the artistry behind it remains uncertain. Damascus steel stands as a symbol of ancient craftsmanship still ahead of its time. 5. Ancient brain surgery, neuroscience. 7,000 years ago. Imagine living thousands of years ago. No modern hospitals, no anesthesia, no antibiotics. Now imagine undergoing brain surgery. As impossible as that sounds, evidence shows our ancestors were performing such operations as far back as 7,000 years ago. The procedure, known as trepanation, involved carefully drilling or scraping a hole into the skull, often to relieve pressure from head injuries, seizures, or even spiritual beliefs about releasing evil spirits. Archaeologists have uncovered skulls from ancient civilizations, from the Incas in South America to Neolithic Europe, bearing these surgical openings. What's truly astonishing is that many of these skulls show clear signs of healing, meaning the patients survived the ordeal. In fact, some individuals appear to have undergone multiple trepanations in their lifetime, suggesting it was a relatively common medical practice rather than a desperate gamble. The tools were primitive, obsidian blades, flint knives, or bronze instruments, yet the precision and survival rates indicate a surprising level of medical knowledge. How did ancient healers understand enough about the human body to attempt such delicate procedures? Trepanation reveals that ancient medicine wasn't as primitive as we often imagine. Instead, it shows remarkable courage, experimentation, and skill that laid the groundwork for modern neurosurgery. 4. The Nazca lines, messages written for the gods. Stretching across the arid desert plains of southern Peru lie the mysterious Nazca lines, massive geoglyphs etched into the earth nearly 2,000 years ago. Covering hundreds of square miles, these designs include straight lines, geometric shapes, and enormous figures of animals like monkeys, spiders, hummingbirds, and even a humanoid figure nicknamed the astronaut. The most puzzling part? These geoglyphs are so large that their full patterns can only be recognized from the sky. Yet the Nazca people had no known access to aerial technology. How did they achieve such precision and scale? Some theories suggest they used simple surveying tools, ropes, and stakes to map out the designs. Others believe elevated hills may have given them vantage points to visualize their work. As for their purpose, scholars remain divided. Some think the lines are aligned with astronomical events or constellations, functioning as a kind of star calendar. Others argue they were ritual pathways used in ceremonies to invoke rain in the desert climate. A few even speculate they were messages intended for deities in the sky. No matter the explanation, the Nazca lines remain an enduring enigma. Colossal messages written in the earth, their true meaning still hidden in the sands of time. 3. Greek fire, the weapon that burned on water. In the 7th century CE, the Byzantine Empire unveiled a weapon so terrifying it became legendary: Greek fire. Unlike ordinary flames, this mysterious substance could ignite on contact and continue burning even on water. Imagine being a sailor facing enemy ships only to see streams of liquid fire hurled across the sea, a weapon that turned the waves themselves into an inferno. Greek fire was most famously used to defend Constantinople against invading fleets. Delivered through specially designed siphons mounted on ships, it clung to wood, sails, and even human skin. making it almost impossible to extinguish. Buckets of water only made it worse. The only known methods of putting it out were sand, vinegar, or old urine, an indication that its chemical composition was far from ordinary. What exactly was it made of? Some theories suggest crude oil mixed with resin, sulfur, or quicklime. Others believe it was a more complex chemical formula lost to history. The recipe was guarded as a state secret, known only to a handful of imperial engineers, and it died with them. Greek fire wasn't just a weapon, it was psychological warfare, changing the course of naval battles and leaving behind one of history's most enduring mysteries. 2. The Indus Valley Civilization, plumbing from 2000 BCE. Over 4,000 years ago, while much of the world still lived in scattered villages, the people of the Indus Valley Civilization were building cities that rivaled and in many ways surpassed modern ones. Sites like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa reveal an astonishing level of planning and organization that continues to amaze archaeologists today. These ancient cities were laid out on a precise grid system, with wide, straight streets intersecting at perfect right angles. Even more impressive was their sanitation and water management. Underground drainage channels ran beneath the streets, carrying waste away from residential areas. Many homes were equipped with private wells and bathrooms, complete with brick-lined drains that connected to the larger sewer network. In other words, thousands of years ago, ordinary families had access to plumbing and clean water that some parts of the world still struggle to provide today. The uniformity of construction suggests strong governance and advanced civil engineering. Yet, what's most baffling is how such a sophisticated society eventually disappeared. By around 1500 BCE, the great Indus cities were abandoned, leaving behind more questions than answers. The Indus Valley reminds us that progress isn't always linear. Sometimes ancient civilizations achieved advancements we are only beginning to appreciate. Number 1. Puma Punku, stonework that defies modern tools. Some stones look as if they were cut by laser, yet the site is over 1,500 years old. Deep in the highlands of Bolivia lies Puma Punku, part of the ancient city of Tiwanaku, and home to some of the most mysterious stonework on Earth. At first glance, it looks like a scattered ruin of massive blocks, but look closer and you'll see something astonishing. These stones were cut with such laser-like precision that they fit together like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, without mortar, and with joints so tight that even a razor blade can't slip between them. Some of the blocks weigh over 100 tons, yet were somehow transported and lifted into place more than 1,500 years ago, long before the invention of advanced cranes or modern cutting tools. The stones themselves, made of andesite and granite, are extremely hard, yet shaped into perfect right angles and intricate H-blocks that suggest advanced planning and engineering. How did the Tiwanaku people achieve this feat? No chisels, saws, or construction methods from their time explain such accuracy. Some scholars propose the use of copper tools and abrasives, while others speculate about lost techniques or technologies we don't yet understand. Puma Punku is more than ruins. It's proof we don't know half of what ancient engineers could do. From ancient computers to mysterious stonework, these technologies prove that our ancestors weren't primitive at all. In fact, they may have discovered secrets that we've lost to time. Which ancient technology on this list blew your mind the most? Do you think we've truly uncovered their secrets? Or are we only scratching the surface of a much bigger mystery? If you enjoyed this journey into ancient mysteries, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more explorations into history's hidden genius.